There is nothing better than a nice keyboard to complement your computer. And what I've got here is a beautiful, clean looking, minimalistic white mechanical keyboard with a translucent base. And if you want, you can use it like this. However, using the power of USB, I can do that. Look at all that RGB goodness. It's quite flashy now. Like I said, if you don't like RGB and you prefer the minimal style, you can do that. But I think most people would use it with all the beautiful lights here. So this is the Gamma K K61. You can see here, K61. And the 61 refers to 61 mechanical keys. And it's quite a nice design here. But one thing to note right off the bat is that this isn't Bluetooth, it's not wireless. This requires you to connect to your computer using this Type-C connection. So that's how you connect. Now, I will say that's not necessarily a bad thing. I've got the AND Pro 2 as well. That's another nice mechanical keyboard. And whilst I do like that keyboard, I did experience dropouts with this every now and then with the Bluetooth connection. Maybe it was my setup, I don't know. But I will say there is many situations where I just don't want to bother with Bluetooth connections, with wireless connections. I just want to plug something in and get connected. And that's why I think that there is a market still for things like this. I don't think everything has to be wireless. And I like the simplicity of not having to mess about with connections and drivers and different things. It just works. So this is available online from Banggood, and they were very kind enough to send this out to me. It's available at the current time for $63.99, which, if I use their own currency converter, translates to around £46.13. So that's roughly how much it will cost you. You will see this elsewhere, maybe on eBay and stuff like that, but Banggood is probably the cheapest you'll find it. So before I talk about all these flashing lights and talk about other aspects of this keyboard, I want to just quickly explain why I don't have the actual box and things. All I've got is this manual. I don't have the cable either. So Banggood were very kind enough to send this out to me, and I do appreciate it. But they did make two mistakes. The first one was that they asked for my address, and I gave them my new address, but they still had my old address on file, and they sent it to my old house. That was their mistake. Their second mistake was using the UK courier company Hermes. They are the worst company in the UK for deliveries. And during the snowstorms, when the weather was bad, they didn't deliver it to my front door. They didn't deliver it to the neighbour. They didn't even drop this off at the back door. The delivery guy simply threw it right in the middle of the garden, right in a big pile of snow. And I only got an email about it about 4 days later. So when my mum was kind enough to pick it up, the actual cardboard box that, the package was in, it was all damaged. It was like paper mache. So I lost most of the things that were in the box. I do still have the manual, which, to be honest, isn't the best manual. I will say that. It's got some functions down at the bottom that use the function key, etc. It's referring to keys that aren't even on the keyboard. So it's borderline useless, this. But the sales page tells you everything that you need to know. So this is the RGB keyboard. This is it. And if you want to know more about specs, the full specifications list, check out the sales page. You will see instructions on how to use this. And you'll see a lot of different other things here as well. Like the product size, you've got the product weight there. Now, they've got the product weight as 550 grams, but I will say I actually weighed this in at a different weight. I weighed this in at 508 grams, and it's 1 pound, 1.9 ounces. So I suspect their weight refers to the whole package or something. I'm guessing. I don't know. But there's a list of all the features here. Now, normally, whenever I do a review like this, I want to point out all features, right? And I want to point out how to use it. Now, as far as changing the RGB, I'll show you in a second. You just use some, if I can hit the right button, you can just use some keys, and I'll explain how all that works in a second. But the alternative to using shortcuts for that is to use their software, right? Now, there's a good video here, and there's a lot of video reviews of this, and this guy's got a good review. I'll leave a link to this. he has got an example of the software, and it shows you how you can quickly cycle through all the colors, you can change the speed and the brightness, and you can change the macros as well. You are free to use that, but out of general principle, I have not installed the software for this keyboard because they've got it here. It links to a random Google Drive account, probably from someone in China, and it's simply an exe file. So they've just linked to an exe file from a random Google Drive account. And yes, I have installed software from Chinese companies in the past, but it's normally through official websites. And just out of general principle, I'm not installing software that's just sitting an exe file on Google Drive. And you can take your own risk with that if you want, but personally, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so before I explain RGB, I just want to quickly talk about the build and then I'll show you all the shortcuts, etc. So this is the keyboard and this is how it's designed. And you can get different colors of switches here. You'll see that on the website, but I've got yellow switch, which you can see there. I'll open it up later just to show you more. But if you turn it around, you can see the base and you can see, these rise up a little bit higher, just to give you a little bit of an angle. Now, when I got it, I think it was maybe this one. This screw was a little bit loose, so this plastic bit was a little bit raised up. But, just a quick turn of the screwdriver and you're good to go. I'm not sure how that came out. Now, this is by design. I assume that these screws can be taken off because a lot of people customize mechanical keyboards. It's a big aspect of buying a mechanical keyboard. It's a big reason to buy one. And it looks like you can get this out quite easy. You can see the screws go right through. Take that out. You can get into things if you want to mess about with it. It's not something I'm going to do, but it is something that you can do if you wish. Right. RGB keyboard. Funky RGB keyboard. So this actually has a memory and it will remember the last time that you plugged this in. So if you change the colors, the next time you plug it in, you don't have to set it up again. Now, it's all controlled, colors and all that. It's all controlled via the function key. And if you look on the website, there's a complete list. If I scroll down, if I'll show you all the features here, transparent glass shell, 61 keys, mechanical switch, toning disc light effect. Ooh, sexy. 6 themed lighting effects. So if you scroll down here and you go through all the kind of marketing that's related to the memory, get to the marketing, here we go. So this is a list of all the function keys, and a lot of it's simple, such as there's a function in P will print, print your screen and things like that. There's ins, there's del, there's different things like that. So yeah, there's a list of all the functions there. I would refer to that rather than the manual. It's easier to follow and it seems to be correct as well. So there's a list of all the different functions there. And that's something that you do have to get used to. I mean, this isn't a full-size keyboard. You don't have the number pad and you're going to have to make use with shortcuts, because of some buttons being a little bit, missing, like page up and different things. So you're going to have to get used to shortcuts, but that's kind of par for the course for these minimalistic keyboards that you do learn the shortcuts. So function key, brightness, there's 3 levels of brightness. When you get to the top, this caps lock will flash showing you that you're at the top, and you go down one, and then it goes off. And again, that shows you that you're at the bottom. And the caps lock flashing up like that, to indicate that it was, they were at the top brightness. If you put the caps lock on, it will stay white. And I do like that. I really do like the fact that it's just a simple thing, but I do like the fact that it remains white when all the other keys will change color. So it's quite good. So that's it off and that's it on. Now, as far as changing color goes, there's a few different things. I've read that there's different ways to change the side colors and different things, but the easiest way to do it, I've found, is to use the function key and then you push the space bar. Once that is pressed, you just push a key. So now it's like an orange theme. Now I can go yellow. They're all different keys. There's lots of different effects here. You need to kind of, push function in space to reset it and it will go back through all the colors like that. You can use the software. Like I said, you can use software, and there's different keys for changing the side effects and customizing it all. I've found that, the kind of default one seems to be okay, in my opinion. It seems to be okay, and it, seems to be working quite well. Now, if you set this up in a way that you don't like and you can't get back to the way that you want it, because this has got memory, when you plug it back in, it will still look like that. But what you can do is hold function like that, and then you hold the back key and it should reset it. And this is the reset. Look at that. All the colors spin around and you're back to default settings. And then you can turn the brightness off and get everything the way that you want it. So I'll show you that again. I went off camera for a brief second there because the back key can basically stop recording because I've got OBS open. But if you find yourself in a situation where you have this set in a color that you don't like, or a setting or a configuration that you don't like, you just have to go through that process again. Now, it's worth noting that because taking it out like I am just now and then putting it back in, that will not fix it. It will go back to the previous color. And that's by design, you know, so that you don't have to set everything up again and again. But to reset, all you do is you hold the function key and you hold back. And after about 3 seconds, it will do its little spinny thing. And then you're back to normal. And then you can customize the keyboard how you see fit. Now, on the subject of customizing colors again, just to go back to what I was saying about software, I have used Chinese software before. I've used apps like this before to change colors. My experience with them is that, generally speaking, you get 1 or 2 versions of the firmware at the start, and then there's never any updates, which means that if there's any bugs in the firmware, if there's any problems with the software not working correctly, they will never be fixed. So for me not actually downloading that software, it's not a big issue for me personally. You know, I don't feel like I'm losing out because it tends to be buggy and there's never any updates. So I'm quite happy using the shortcuts, especially because they are so easy to use. And I will say, as far as the RGB color scheme goes, it's not for everyone. I realize some people think it's a bit naff and maybe the RGB fad has passed them by. Maybe they think it's a bit gimmicky, but it's quite nice and it adds a bit of color to your desktop, which is something quite good. You know, it's quite good to have that, especially if you're using it at night. So there's no getting away from the fact that this is a mechanical keyboard. And the one that I've got has yellow switches, and there are many different switches here. If you look on the website here, you can see that they have, I'll show you it, they've got black switch, blue switch, brown switch, red switch, and then yellow switch. Now, interestingly, at the bottom of the sales page, if I can ever get to it, they've got black shaft, red shaft, T shaft, and Scion axis, and they've all got kind of different benefits and different features. Yellow isn't there. Yellow isn't there, so I'm not sure what the benefit of my yellow switch is in comparison to the other ones. Now, I don't believe you get any mechanical key remover like this. This was taken from my An Pro 2, and that came with the spare keys, you know, custom keys like that, different colors and different things, and it allowed me to take the keys off using that. Now, don't worry if the package doesn't include it. I can't confirm whether one is included with this, obviously because of what happened. But if you do buy one of these, they're very cheap. You can buy basically like 50 cents or $1 or something, or £1. You can take the keys off and you can customize the keys if you have something like this. And that is one of the selling points of a mechanical keyboard. Mechanical keyboards have a beautiful sound when you're typing on them, but they're also really, really customizable. If you don't like the layout here, you can change it. And that's something that is attractive to me because, well, this doesn't have a UK layout. My other keyboard, which you can see here, it's got the pound sign and it's got, you know, the hash keys down there and the @ symbols in a different position. And when I assign Windows to having a UK keyboard on this, obviously the buttons aren't going to, you know, the keys, sorry, they're not going to match up in the way that they should. And this is where mechanical keyboards come in handy, that you can customize things, you know, the way that you want. So, in fact, I'll show you this a little bit better. What this effectively does is it goes over the keys, then it hooks around it. So you do this, you push it down, and then it goes over like that. And then you simply pull it up like that, and it pops out. Now, I will show you that again. I want to show you that at a different angle, just so you've got a better understanding as to what's going on. So from here, you see like that, it hooks. They're effectively just hooking under the key. You see that? So once it's hooked under the key, you just pull it off. And all these keys work in the same way. You know, this is designed to stretch over the shift key, you know, the enter key, whatever. And there's the yellow switch. Now, again, this is back to this part here. You can actually remove these keys if you want. You know, the actual switches can be changed as well. And that's why there's screws there for you to take that out. If you want, you can customize this and change those if you're if you so desire. But for most of us, what you're looking to do is really just change the keys and customize it a little way, because, I did a few different things like this. I set up like a custom print screen, and then I've got the return key just to make it a little bit unique, just to kind of put my own touch on it. And that's something you can do on this as well. And I will say, I've got these chiclet style keyboards, right? And I'm used to typing on them because laptops have them, or most laptops have them. I would say about 90% of them have chiclet style keyboards, probably 95 at this point. And they do work well. But I'll also say that when these keys break, they tend to remain broken. I've got a full-size Apple keyboard downstairs, and one of the keys has broken, and it's just impossible to get back on. They're very unfriendly. They're not user-friendly to put the keys back on. Contrast to this, this is so easy to put keys on, take keys off. So if for any reason the key breaks, or you get, any problems with it, it's stained, something's wrong, you've not lost the keyboard. You simply replace the switch, or you replace the key, or both. And that's one of the greatest selling points of a mechanical keyboard. It's customizable, it's very easy to fix, it's very easy to put your own touch on it. And it's one of the things I do like about mechanical keyboards. I will say though, the one down, apart from, obviously I don't have the UK pound sign and all that there, I do miss a full-size keyboard. When I find that whenever I go down to these smaller keyboards, it takes me a while to get used to not having that additional number pad. But I do like the smaller size. I really do like the smaller size, and the fact that I don't have, a big keyboard dominating my desk. So let's talk about typing. It's all about typing. So what I'll do is I'll just bring up a website that I can type, and I'll bring it up here. So if I bring this keyboard down like this, you should be able to see what I'm doing now. I'll need to see if I'm doing right. Okay, so this is the keyboard. This is kind of how I would use it, just sitting in front of the PC like you would. And I'll type in, this is an amazing, see, I've got one keyboard. It is amazing. Right, so I've made a few mistakes there, right? Keyboard there. There's a couple of reasons for that. First reason is I've been using a chiclet style keyboard for a few months. Second reason is I've got this quite far from me, so that I can show you on the keyboard. I'm kind of leaning over like this. This would not be my natural typing position, so I'm kind of leaning over like this to try and type. Now, I reckon though, even with that, I would get used to typing on this, and it'd be a lot easier to type in a different situation, like downstairs, at a desk or something. This is the Gamma KT, let's see, K61. It is a keyboard. So as like when I'm sitting here, it's quite hard to type, but I will say when I pull this closer to me, it's a lot easier to type, and it's a more pleasant typing experience. So it maybe gives you an idea of what it sounds like, and what it looks like to type on, etc. I will say I think this is a really nice keyboard to type on. Now, there is a kind of time period, of familiarizing yourself with a mechanical keyboard again. Once you've been typing on chiclet style keyboards on a laptop during the day, and then this keyboard at night, there's always a period, like I don't know, for me it's about a couple of days or maybe a week of typing where you start getting fast with it again, and then all of a sudden you're typing really quickly. And I will say that once you get used to a mechanical keyboard, I would say that you'll type faster than a chiclet style keyboard. But I have found that this is a pleasant typing experience. So my experience with the Gamma Key K61 mechanical keyboard so far has been extremely positive. This is a really nice keyboard to look at. It's customizable, it's portable, it's lightweight, but it's also a really nice keyboard to type on. Now, I don't think that's something I've really demonstrated well in this video, because this is sitting about half a meter away from me so that I can put it underneath the overhead camera. But when it's closer to me, it's a lot easier to type. I'm not hunched over, and I'll make less mistakes. So from a typing point of view, I really do like this. This is a mechanical keyboard. It's no surprise that it is nice to type on, but it is a nice keyboard to type on, I will say that. Now, Banggood were very kind enough to send this out to me, But let's be honest, there is a difference between getting a product sent to you for review and buying something with your own money. But mechanical keyboards can be expensive, and some of the better ones, they sell for hundreds. I mean, they're really, really expensive. So from a pricing point of view, this is competitive. And I don't think this price is going to scare anyone away. I really don't. Now, I can recommend this. And if you're looking for a mechanical keyboard, this is something that I can recommend. But you have to understand what this is and what it's not. And I don't think this is for everyone. It really isn't. The big difference here, let's state the obvious, this doesn't have chiclet style keys. Now, most people, they type on a chiclet style keyboard on their laptop and sometimes on their full-size keyboard as well. I have used both of these styles of keyboards for many years, and I can easily switch between them. I've wrote practically millions of words on the internet. I've been writing for many years, and I've switched between both styles, and it's no problems for me. Now, I'm stating the obvious, but I'm saying this because I know of a lot of people that are attracted to a small, portable, sexy keyboard like this, but then they just can't get used to that typing experience, and they want to go back to a chiclet style keyboard. So that is something to bear in mind. This is a mechanical keyboard. It's full-size keys, and that will just rule out a lot of you right off the bat. But the other thing is, well, this has a number pad. This has arrows. This is, what a full-size keyboard normally has, and that's actually quite a small full-size keyboard. This doesn't have that, but that means that you're kind of losing this part of the keyboard. So its strength is also its weakness. You don't have the number pad, you don't have those arrow keys, and because of that, you need to use the function key and a lot of different shortcuts to, use arrow keys, like that is the arrow up, arrow left, etc. You need to get used to all those shortcuts. And once you get used to that, it's not that bad. But I'm not going to say that it replaces a full-size keyboard. I still love using a full-size keyboard myself. Just be aware that when you shrink down to a smaller keyboard, you do have to make some compromises and use some shortcuts instead. The other thing here, again, is the fact that this isn't localized, at least not for me. It's got the $ and all that up there, so Americans should be okay, North Americans. But for me, I don't have that pound sign here, and I don't have a UK keyboard layout. But this is the great thing about mechanical keyboards. You can just, put this here like this. You can remove it, pop it out, and change it. Now, obviously, I could do it for that one, put in the pound sign, but you can do that for every single key. You can take it out, and then you can add in a pound key or a euro key or whatever. You can customize this, and go onto Amazon, go onto eBay, you'll see lots of people selling different mechanical keys for this, different switches as well you can change. And you can set up macros and you can customize this how you want. Now, from a marketing point of view, these rainbow flashy colors, they're probably what grab a lot of people's attention, but you can change them. You can make them blue, you can make them yellow, green, you can change through all the colors. But if you prefer, you can just turn it off. And that's the thing. And, it's easy, to promote this as a flashy, all, singing and dancing RGB keyboard, but you don't have to use it that way. You really don't. So, just bear that in mind. Don't be put off by the flashing colors because they can be disabled very easily. And one more obvious thing, this doesn't have Bluetooth, guys. It doesn't have any kind of wireless connection. You have to use the Type-C connection. To me, that's not a problem. I've got wireless keyboards. I've got wired keyboards. There's a place for all of these keyboards, and you just have to, try and figure out whether this will complement your laptop or your PC or your Apple Mac or whatever. But again, something to bear in mind, it doesn't have a wireless connection. You have to stay plugged in. But I quite like that. I really do like that because what it means is when I'm finished, I just unplug it, take it away, and then I'll plug it in next time I need to use it. And I've got so many of these now because of tablets and phones and different things. I've got these cables everywhere. So yes, overall, my experience with the Gamma, I was going to say the Gamma Key. The Gamma Key K61 has been positive. If you want to learn more about this, please follow the link below in the description area. It will link you to this sales page. You'll see lots of other videos from other YouTubers. Please do check those out as well. You'll see more about it. And check out all the specs and you can find out all those commands. They're down here somewhere. There you go. There's all the commands. And you will have to learn all those shortcuts if you want to get the most out of this keyboard. I mean, it's not a full-size keyboard. You have to learn those shortcuts. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Gamma K61. If you get any questions, please do leave a comment below. But until next time, take care.